Hi, welcome to the makeup/tutorial session for the first session of the 2019-2020 Aberdeen Central High School Professional Development, the Google Classroom and G Suite integration. This session is focused on Google Classroom. You will notice that I have a browser set up and opened to Google Classroom, and from there you can see I have a variety of different courses. And then I also have the 2019-2020 CHS Professional Development. So I'm going to be actually using that classroom as the example here. And we'll go through the information that's in the presentation. So first, what we're going to do is just quickly glance at the presentation objectives to understand the importance of creating an efficient and easily understood online learning environment. This really relies on efficiency, and if we can set up an efficient learning environment, students will be more apt to use it and thereby have a deeper understanding of the content. Additionally, we are going to describe Google Classroom from both the learner's and educator's perspective. It's important for us to see our learning management systems not only from the side that we will frequent, but also the side that the students will frequent, and that will help us be able to identify things for them and help them in the process. We will also be creating an online learning environment utilizing Google Classroom. And then finally, we'll reflect on the specific goals and challenges of utilizing Google Classroom. So that said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to click into my 2019-2020 CHS Professional Development Classroom. Now for you, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be joining a classroom. So I've actually jumped the gun here, unfortunately, so I'm going to go ahead and go back, and we can always go back by the 3 lines and click on classes. Now what you want to do is go over to the right, and you're going to see a little plus box, and in that plus box you're going to be hitting create or join a class. And in this case you're going to start with joining a class, and you'll see that it's going to ask for your class code. Now the class code for this particular course, you'll see that it says code here, but that information was disseminated through an email just so that anybody else that gets access to this video won't be joining our classroom randomly. So if you have that class code, you should be copying and pasting it or entering it into this box. Once you click join, you'll be prompted to add a class that looks like a box like this. It'll have the brown passion lettuce here, 2019-2020 CHS Professional Development. You'll click join, you'll see a picture of my face, and then you'll be entered into the class. So welcome to the class. Now let's go ahead and explore the interface as a learner. So on my side, I will be demonstrating what students see from a perspective, from what the teacher sees. You're going to be seeing it from what the learners see. And again, that's an important skill that we have to kind of think of. How do we communicate that information to the student in a real and relevant way? So as efficiently as we can. So you'll see that on top there are 3 tabs. There's Stream, Classwork, and People. So the Stream is where we're currently at, and you'll see that it has just kind of a bunch of different things here. You'll see over on the left-hand side it has the upcoming work that's due soon. You'll also see that I, as a teacher, have the ability to make an announcement to the class. And then you'll also see that I have several different assignments here. Now, if these were reading assignments, they might look different. If it was just classroom materials, they would look different. There's a variety of different things that we can do there. Also on top, you're going to notice that there's a Classroom tab. If you click on the Classroom tab, mine again will look different, but it's going to have coursework under teacher-created tabs. So you'll see that I have 3 content tabs here. Course documents, this might be where I would put syllabi or course descriptions, review sheets, things that maybe don't have to be done by the student, but instead they're there for them to be able to answer or answer their own questions through it, maybe provide information and context for the course overall. Additionally, you'll see that I have a tab here, Artifact Assignments, and these are some of the assignments we're going to be doing throughout this professional development. And then finally, Reflective Journals. So with each unit that we have, we will have reflective journals, and that's shown here. When you log in, you will not see this Create button, but you will see Artifact Assignments. and you will see reflect journals, but you will not see course documents. It is only going to show up if there are published posts. In other words, there are assignments that are published underneath that tab. The last one here you're going to see is people, and you'll see that I ironically am in my own class, but that's just simply to identify I was doing a little bit of kind of bug testing and that type of thing. So you can see a list of other students in the course. Students themselves can see that. They can also see the teacher. You would not have the add or invite students or invite other teachers tabs. You also wouldn't have the opportunity to email guardians. This does, though, allow individual students to see their own work that they're missing. So if you were to click on your own name, then you can see that I have work that's been assigned. I could also click on specific filters, turned in work. At this point, I have turned in one of the assignments and then returned with a grade. Nothing has been returned from my instructor. And then missing, so in other words, it's been overdue. There's nothing overdue at this point in time. I'm going to go to the upper left-hand corner and click the back arrow. It's going to take me back to this menu. I can email, from my perspective, email that student or guardian, but I also have the ability to click on individual assignments, and I'm going to show you that right now. So let's take this reflective journal number 1 that I've already turned in. You'll see that it has my individual assignment added, and I can also click on View Details. And under View Details, yours will pop up with something like this, and it has maybe add from Google Drive, add a file, upload, and then turn in, or unsubmit if it's already been submitted. So there's a lot of different options that students have available to them. I'm going to click back on CHS Professional Development quickly. So remember that there are some helpful links here, listed underneath our presentation. So under the stream, we have our upcoming events. Under classwork, we have a Google Calendar link and a Class Drive link. If I were to click on the Class Drive link, it's going to take me to Google Drive specifically for this class. And you'll see that any assignment that you have had shared with you will show up under its own individual assignment. I have folders full of different students' assignments. So for every student, I will have a file within Reflective Journal number 1 Google Classroom. I'm going to go back to Google Classroom. And from here, you'll also notice I can click on Google Calendar. And for those of you that are familiar with Google Calendar, now mine will look like there's a lot of things going on here, but for those of you that are familiar with Google Calendar, you're going to see that individual assignments show up here. So let's go ahead and go forward to when I have my assignment of creating a Google Classroom learning environment. And you'll see that that pops up here. So this is very similar to what students might see if they're familiar with using Google Classroom in other ways. They can link this class calendar to their phones as well. Go ahead and click out of that, and we're going to head back into and look at people. They're going to have the opportunity. There is a button for them that says email teacher or contact teacher. That's going to show up there as well. Let's go back to the stream quickly. And from here, completing assignments as a learner. So if we were to click on, in fact, I'm going to switch accounts real quick here, and I will be right back so I can show you what this looks like. So as a learner, you'll notice now that my icon has changed in the upper right-hand corner. So I am in here as a student. If I click on people, in this case, I have not given them the ability to contact me. You'll see that classwork, again, only the tabs that have things that have been published. I've already turned this in, and it's waiting to be graded. That's why this is grayed out. And then if I click on stream, I'm going to click on one of these missing assignments, or assignments that have been created for me but haven't been turned in. And I can do several different things. I can see that there is nothing that I can click on. Now, some of these, there'll be individual assignments that they can click on. Otherwise, I can add. Now, if I have a file from Google Drive, I could click into Google Drive. I could find a specific file that I want to upload. I want to add this file. Click Add. It's then going to find it. Now, this happens to be a Word doc. Not a problem. If I wanted to create an assignment that could be turned in, I could also do that. And then I could hit Turn In. It's going to say, do you really want to turn in with this submitted? And I'm going to say, yes, turn in. And then students also have the ability to add a comment. So, I might say, please find my develop and deliver document attached. And then I'd hit post. Now that's only going to go to my specific teacher. They're going to see what time I wrote that, everything else. It's very, very efficient. Now if for some reason I've turned this in and I don't want them to have access to it anymore, for maybe I need to change something quickly, I can hit unsubmit. And it'll say, are you sure you're done, you want to unsubmit? You can resubmit once you're done. So I go in here and maybe I want to make a change, or maybe, you know, that file wasn't the correct one. I want to hit docs. And now it's actually going to create a doc that's going to be linked automatically here. Okay, so now I'm going to click in here. And this doc now is going to be blank. And I can change things, I can add things, but you'll notice that this is slightly different than a typical doc, because in the upper right hand corner it says turn in. So I can actually complete this, hit turn in, and it's automatically going to direct me back to Classroom, and it's going to say, do you really want to turn this in? And I'll say yes, turn it in, and now it's automatically submitted. Again, a wonderful bit of efficiency there. So moving on, let's look at it from the perspective of an educator again. Okay, now I'm going to switch back to my other account, and I've already done that, so I can do it pretty easily here. So you'll see that my icons changed, so now I am teacher again. I'm going to click on my 3 lines and go to classes. Now you have this class as a learner. Let's say you want to add a class, you want to create one. Let's click on the plus button. You can click join. That's if there's somebody else that already has a class, but we can click create as well. So let's click create, and it's going to give us some information that we need to enter. So I'm going to give this example, and section 1, this is professional development for me, and you can put whatever. They have a lot of pop-ups, and this is taking place in the Commons. I'm going to click create, and you're going to notice that I'm going to have a new box pop up. It does take a second. And here it is. So we have example 1. So the 1 is my class section, and then example is the title. And you'll see that this is pretty bare bones at this point. I can make some changes, I can customize, I'll leave you to do that. But notice that within Stream now I have the ability to make generalized announcements. I can select, if I had several students in here, I could select individual students. I could also, and you can see I can select multiple sections. Under classwork, this is where I can click create now, and I have the ability to create topics, which would be like my categories. So I might type assignments, and now I have the assignments tab. I also have the ability to ask a question, which would be kind of similar to a discussion post. I'm going to click X. I don't want to keep that one. I can add material. So this would be things that aren't graded. So maybe it's a link to a video, link to that YouTube video that we were talking about in class. And I can actually add it directly from YouTube here if I wanted to. I might have a link. Okay, I could attach something. I can click from Google Drive. I can add my announcements or assignments. I can click post, and now you'll see that it's active underneath here. It's got a different tab. And then I'm also going to click maybe add assignment, and here you'll see that I can assign points to it. And oftentimes what I do is I assign points as well as I link on Google Drive. So all of those things you're capable of posting things throughout. Now, lastly, we can also click on the gear here. And on the gear, we have some editing options. So I can change the name. I can change all those things that I was prompted for before. Okay. I don't need to, so I'm going to click cancel. I can get my class code. So if I'm going to share this with students, I can copy it. I could paste it in a email. I can disable anybody new from adding it. I could reset it if I've had problems, and I can display it. And the display is kind of handy, so you could put this up on a projection screen, making it easier for students to be able to see it. Now, I can delete items from my coursework. I can click a taskbar here to show that I want to continue to see those things even though I've deleted them. I can make it able so that students can or cannot comment on posts. I've never had an issue with students posting, but they understand the expectations very early on. One thing I have noticed that this can make it difficult for you to carry on those discussion posts without allowing them to make comments. And then you can also link Guardians to your People tab, and I'll show you what the example here of a summary that they would get emailed to them. So this is a sample summary of what it would be for this particular student. And it gives for each class in some cases, depending on if they have multiple classes linked or not. So you'll see that for U.S. history, he has this assignment missing. For English and American literature, this assignment due next week. Okay, class activities. So these would be assignments that came up and questions and all sorts of things for different classes that he has linked in there. Parents can unsubscribe if they'd wish to or whatever else. So how do we set that up? So we are going to exit out of class settings, and then we're going to go to people. And now on the teacher side of it, we can actually click and see invite teachers. We could find another teacher, and in fact, if you're using the K-12 system, which you should be, you can type in anybody's name within the K-12 system, and they will pop up automatically. And then if you want to add students, it's the same thing. So if we added a student, we would be able to add in their parents as well. So I'm going to actually use my wife here for this particular assignment. I'm going to click invite. And now that she's invited, you'll see I have some actions. I can click there and I can actually email her. I can remove her. When she's active, there will be another button that I can click on that says add parent email. And when that happens, then I have the ability to send those summaries out, and they will be automated as well. So there's quite a few capabilities with that gear icon. So let's move on. We only have a little bit left here. So how do we create content? And I already kind of showed you that. So under the Classroom tab, this is where we go back in, and we have the ability to create an assignment. We can upload PDFs. We could create a Google form, which would have a quiz with it. We'll show those later on in the third sectional chunk. We could create a question, material. We can reuse a topic or a post. So if I click on that, and I didn't show you this before, but we can go in here to any class that I've taught, and I've taught through Google Classroom quite a bit. But you can click through any one of those, and you'd be able to pick a specific assignment and repost it. And you can customize it to this particular course as well. Now, with each assignment, question, and material, so let's go ahead and get in here. I can assign individual points. That's found right here. I can make it ungraded if I want. I can select the due date. Okay, once I select a due date, I can actually select a due time. So if I want it at, right away at 11:59, so that's truly that day, I can put an appropriate topic or tag. So this is assignments. I can schedule a release time, and this one's pretty useful. So once I have a title, I'll just put assignment 1. If you'll see this arrow to the right hand side, if I click on that, it says save as a draft, assign, or schedule. If I click schedule, now I'm able to schedule out. So if I have a substitute, something like that, I can click on that, the 15th, and well, it's got to be after the due date. Before the due date. So let's click on the 12th. I can select the time. I can hit schedule. Now you're going to see that it shows up. It tells me not that it's posted, but when it's scheduled for. Okay. I'm actually going to go back in, and these 3 dots, I can move it, delete it, edit it. I actually want to edit it. So when I go in here again, I can change which students are able to see it. If I hadn't already scheduled it, I could set for multiple classes. So some of this kind of has to be done prior to other steps being taken. And then I can also determine learner editing rights. So I'll show you how that works. Let's say I'm going to upload from Google Drive, and I have a rubric that I'm going to be using. And you'll see right here it says students can view file. If I'd like to, I can say that they can edit a file. Now that would be all students editing the same file. Sometimes that's great. You might have multiple groups reporting in on something. You're going to make a complete analysis of maybe in social studies a primary document, or if it's math homework, maybe it's multiple formulas. In science, maybe it's each step of the evolution of a particular animal or a scientific experiment. Okay? Or you can click on Make a Copy for each student, and that will automatically make a copy for them in their Google Drive. Okay, you can also click on here, right here, you can type in instructions. So please complete the attached document and submit for grading by the due date. And I've had things in there like, you need to work in groups on this, please make sure that you are being academically honest, those types of things. And then now that I've already scheduled it, you'll note that it says schedule. So I'm just going to click schedule again. It's going to pop up. If I click on it, it's going to show me that they're making an individual copy for it. It's going to give me the comments, but that's pretty much it. Now, we've gone through real briefly joining a course, so you can see how this course is going to operate. This is where you'll submit things. We've also gone through what it looks like as a learner. We've gone through how to create a course and how to customize it, how to explore it as a teacher, and then finally how to create content specific for your course. And throughout this professional development series, you will be operating under Google Classroom both as a teacher and as a learner. So I just want to remind you briefly of what's going to be covered in the next couple of steps in this timeline. By the next professional development date, which would be February 15th, you need to finalize the creation of your online learning environment using Google Classroom. You will be turning in artifacts for me with that, which means you'll actually be taking 3 screen captures of this. So you'll take one of your stream, one of your classwork, and then one of people. And then you need to reflect on specific goals in challenges utilizing Google Classroom. If we go back to me as a student and I click on CHS Professional Development, you'll notice that Reflect Journal number 1, there is a document that's attached. I've already submitted it, but I can click into it. So this is what you'll be doing for a reflective journal. Just please respond to that. Please be academically honest, and do take some time and reflect with your honest opinion. So that concludes this review of the face-to-face session for Google Classroom creation and first-time integration. Thank you very much for your time, and please email me with any questions or concerns that you might have.